All right, CW fans, this is our second lesson in learning CW. If you haven't had a chance, go check out lesson number 1 first because these lessons build on each other. So make sure that you understand the letters E, T, A, and N. Those were the first set of letters that we practiced, and maybe before you watch this video you might want to recap that video because we will continue to build on that. In the videos going forward, I'm going to be showcasing maybe a different CW paddle. This one is from Tapio in Finland. This is a special edition paddle that shows the Finnish flag and the American flag. It's got my call sign on it. He makes great paddles. They're really fun, really vibrant colors and kind of neat stuff. So he's OH1KB, and he can be found on various platforms, and I've also done for all of the keys that I'll showcase. I have a CW key showcase, so you can kind of like check those out. But again, I wanted to make sure that everyone understands that I'm making these videos mostly for the audio component, since CW Morse Code is very much an audio-based thing. I'm encouraging everybody to really maybe listen to this as opposed to watch it. That's why there's really nothing exciting on the video, although I know people probably want to put this up on their big screen, 90-inch TV, and maybe do some practice Morse code. So at least I've got something up there that you can watch as we go through the program. So the thing that I want to talk about today is we're going to learn 4 more letters, and those are the letters I as in India, M as in Mike, K as in Kilo, and R as in Romeo. As you'll notice, those are the next set of letters that we wound up covering the basics of CW last time, which is E, T, there are the dot and the dash, and then A and N, which are the two, the dot dash and the dash dot, or the dit da or the da dit. So we're going to be moving on to the other 2-digit Morse code letters, which is I and M, and then we're going to start to creep our way into the 3-digit Morse code letters, which is K and R. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the letter I. So that's the letter I. And it sounds kind of quick, right? Almost kind of like the letter E, which is, if you recall, so that's the letter E. And then we have the letter I. You can tell the difference between those two. So if we look at the letter T, the letter E, and then we have the letter I. So that's the letter I, not too bad. Let's throw in one more letter for today, which is the letter M. Sounds a little bit different than the letter I, doesn't it? Couple of M's. And then the letter I. So M-I. Let's do that again. Maybe reverse order. Oh, wait a second. What was that? That must be the letter E, right? What was that? That was the letter T. So M and T. What about M and E? Uh-oh. Little malfunction there. I've got these probably a little bit tighter than most folks, so sometimes it just kind of sticks. So let's do an M and then an E. There you go, there's an M and an E. Do you remember what letter that was? That was one of the first letters we learned today. That would be the I. There's an M. Did you catch that last letter? That was an E. So let's do, you remember that letter? That would be an A. There's an M and an A. Did you catch that last one? Let's do that again. See if you can pick out each one of these letters. That last one was from lesson 1. That was an N. So we just sent the word man, M-A-N, Mike Alpha November. Although I want everyone to know that we're looking at instant character recognition in this video, and the next handful of videos when we're learning letters, I want you to pick out the letters. Don't worry about the words so much. In the last video I had a couple of comments. It was great. There were a number of words we could have made with the letters E, T, A, and N, like antenna. But we didn't really focus on that too much because I want you to learn the letters. I want you to know them cold. I want you to know them backwards. I want you to know them forwards. Don't worry about making words yet. Okay, so what was that? So we have a couple of M's as in Mike. So we have M's and I's. Okay, what was that? That's a little bit different than that one. So we have these two letters. That's an A and an N. Whoops. So there's an A. And that was our M, as in Mike. Those are our two favorite letters for today. We have the I and the M. Whoops. So that was basically two T's, right? Which is a little bit different than M. Two T's next to each other, and there's an M. Same thing with the E and the I. There's your E, there's your I. So E-I-E-I-O. Well, we don't know what the O is yet. We'll get there in lesson 4. So we have E and I. We have M, E. Ooh, there's one of those strange ones. That's an A. And here's an N. So now we know 6 letters, which is pretty cool. We know E. Oops. There's an E. There's a T. There's an A. There's an N. Then we have our new letters, which is I. And the letter M. Now I'd like to introduce an additional letter to our set of characters, which is the letter K, which can be heard on a lot of repeaters around the world, because after transmission, some of the end of transmission letters would be the letter K, which is. So that's the letter K. And sometimes people put the letter K at the end of their QSO to acknowledge that that's the end of the sentence, and you can switch over to the next person. There's the letter K. Okay, what was that? See if you can remember. Whoop, that was too many. You noticed the difference, right? There we go. I must have had too much coffee today, which is entirely possible, because I was so excited about recording this video. So that's the I, which is a little bit different than the letter M as in Mike. All right, there's our K again. So we have a K now. This is K-O-K. Doesn't sound too bad. It definitely sounds different than the other letters, right? There's a K. There's an E. I'll let you follow along. How about these letters? Ah, there's our K. All right. How about these? Okay, so we're running through a bunch of different letters. Now, if you were having a little difficulty with that, maybe I was going a little bit too fast, let's do a little refresher. Here's a couple of letters. I'll just maybe do 5 in a sequence. That was the letter A. Right, the letter A. It's the letter I. We have the letter M. And the letter K. So you want to make sure that right when I'm finished sending, scream out that letter as loud as you can. Make sure you wake up the neighbors, and if you're driving down the street, make sure your windows are rolled down and you're yelling these babies out the window. So that's a K, right? See, I think I've got this a little too tight. There we go. All right, I think that'll be better. Sorry about that. That's what happens when you do these adjustments. I have another video on adjustments. You'll want to make sure that these adjustments are tight enough, but not too tight. Some people like a lot of play in their CW paddles, but I have another video on adjusting paddles, so give that a check out. So we're going to also add our final letter for today to our portfolio of Morse code, and this is going to be the R. Some people use the letter R to signify that they've received the message, received it correctly, and they're happy to continue on the QSO, right? So sometimes I'll when somebody calls me, I'll give them an R, a bunch of R's, like, yeah, Roger, Roger, Roger. So there's an R. Yeah, it's weird. It's like sticking. There's an R. Now, that's a little different than the K, right? There's the K. Switched it up right in the middle. So you remember the R? Remember Roger, Roger. Let's do a K. What in the world was that? Does anyone recognize that letter? It's one of our new letters for today. That would be an M as in Mike. That's an I. So we have an M and an I. Do you recognize that? That's the letter K again. That's the letter N. I threw an N at you. Let's do a K. There's the N. See how they sound a little bit different? So you have a K and an N. Ooh. What's that letter? It's one of our core letters from the first lesson. Oop. That's an E, right? What about this one? Seeing if anyone picks up on this one. That's the I, correct? There's your R. So let's see. I'm not really too worried about making words right now, but we can certainly make the word Mike, right? So we can do an M, the I, the K, and the E. So let's see what that sounds like. So those are the letters M, I, K, and E. That's the K. It's one of our new letters for today. Which sounds a little different from that letter. Does anyone remember what this one is? So that's the R, Roger, Roger. That's it. Here's a T and an E. Now I'm going to just randomly send each one of these 8 letters. We have E, T, A, N, and then we have the new ones I, M, K, and R. And let's see if you can pick these out as I send them. I'll vary my speed. Of course, we're using 18 words per minute for the character speed, but we're also going to be doing Farnsworth spacing, so I'm going to send them like super slow. Let's see if you can pick some of these out. All right, how is that for a little bit of practice? So we've just ran through all 8 of our letters that we now have learned. I will encourage you to watch this video a couple of times because the whole basis of learning is predicated on repetition, and CW, Morse code, is no different. You need to practice all the time. And I'll preface this by saying practice every day, but also find a couple of days to take off. You want to take at least one day off, maybe 2 days off, and then pick it back up again. That kind of helps promote learning, I've noticed, and will help you get a little bit more proficient in understanding and knowing the CW characters. Again, these videos are strictly for you to understand how to recognize the character. I would like instant character recognition as much as humanly possible, so that when I do this, you will scream at the top of your lungs, "That was a K." All right, which one was that? Yeah, you thought the lesson was over. That was an R. Okay, I want to hear it. Okay, so make sure you review this video, watch it a couple of times. We added letters, so as we add letters, some of these videos might start to get a little bit lengthy, but I'm going to try to break them up into smaller letter groups. We might just do 3 letters at a time, but I'm going to try to keep 4 letters mostly as new letters. Keep on this video for about a week, maybe even 2 weeks before you move on, and make sure that you get your letters solid. The next week we will be looking at D as in Delta, G as in Golf, U as in Uniform, and W as in Whiskey. So D, G, U, and W. We'll be adding these new letters to our Morse code portfolio of letters that we know, and we're going to be focusing on instant character recognition. I know I keep repeating that. That's super important, making sure that you can identify these as fast as possible. This is also going to bode well for you when you start learning words and you start getting faster. We're going nice and slow. There's no reason not to go this slow. We're going to keep it this pace for the rest of the lessons. So thank you for watching. Looking forward to the next video. Thanks. CW on, my friends.